Well, it's good evening here in the studios of Brisbane of Radio FM 88 out of Australia. And of course, it's just gone past 7 o'clock here on the East Coast. It's 9 o'clock in New Zealand. It's 10 a.m. in the morning. And that's for our friends in the Northern Hemisphere who's directly right above us, right at the very top, in the pink. That's none other than Andrena Forrest. So it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and she's out there in the woodlands there of is it Somerset, Wiltshire today? Where are you broadcasting from?
I'm in Wiltshire today. I'm at Bradford-on-Avon. We're still on our lovely little canal boat, or my sister's boat, which is over that side. And then we have the river over that side and the train station. And literally right behind me is the Tithe Barn, which is a 14th century monument. So, it's a lovely place to be. So anyway, good morning, everybody. Good evening, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world and whenever you listen to the replay. So today, my lovely guest is MaYanya, who's going to talk about, so many things. I'm not quite sure where I'd like you to start, really, because I know you do sounding like technology, which is one of my passions. You do Herbal Harmonics. You're bringing out teas and all sorts of things. So would you like to start at the very beginning, what set you on this pathway? And I know we share the same birthdays. We're both 11/11s, and I believe, was it two of your sons were 11/11s as well?
Yes, all 11/11s in my household and an 8. So, the 11s are the bringers of the technology of the future, of the higher wisdom, basically grounding higher wisdom. So it was an interesting place to experience family, really. I always used to say, that my children were my greatest teachers, and the things that used to come out of their mouths were absolutely astounding. So, but I guess where it started for me was through my family heritage. Both my parents come from very strong healing backgrounds. My mother is from the Royal Zulu Kraal of South Africa, and so she has the Royal Zulu blood running in her veins. And the shaman of the Zulu who passed away recently, Credo Mutwa, he used to say that his people came to Earth on spaceships. So there's my direct cosmic lineage, really, to that cosmic aspect that I bring through. And then my father, when he was actively healing, he could hands-on heal like that. He was very powerful. The energy in the room used to go down 10 degrees, and he used to say that he healed with the energy of Odin. And of course, Odin is one of the Norse gods who brings in the energy from the higher realms, the higher dimensional earth, through Asgard and through that mythological connection to the higher cosmic earth. And so really from both sides, I've got this very, very strong lineage coming through, both cosmic and multidimensional. And I was born in Africa and spent the first 8 years there, and then my parents immigrated to New Zealand, and they actually settled in a town in the middle of the North Island called Te Aroha, which Aroha, as we know in Maori, means love. So I tell people, I grew up at the base of the mountain of love, and and New Zealand is the remnant of the great continent of Lemuria. So the great mountain peaks of Lemuria are actually the remnants of the land, which is New Zealand. And in Te Aroha, there's water that comes up from Lemuria that is the only water in the world with that. It's thermal, obviously, but it's the only water in the world with that particular thermal makeup. And often when I go home, I sit with my feet in those hot ponds, and I literally feel like I'm sucking up the energy from Lemuria and downloading information from that active active land. It's still very active.
Mm.
So that's kind of where my background is from as far as the healing ability. And I grew up in a household where it wasn't like, my parents are healers. It was just, put your hands on me, I've got a headache, or put your hands on me because my back's sore, or just a knowing of this, you could say, spiritual principle or healing energy, because it comes through the lineage. Neither of my brothers, I'm in the middle, and neither of my brothers are, you would say, active healers, but, there's an innate kind of connection to a deep spiritual knowing.
Mm.
And then I think what happens is you have this deep spiritual knowing, and then you go on the journey to remember that you know what you know. And I think that's the integration part of the spiritual aspect having to be integrated into the human experience. So then when I was in my early 30s with my first child, I went back to New Zealand for a little while. And at the base of that mountain, I had, in a meditation circle, I had an event, I guess, that happened with a Pleiadian being, or I should say she comes through the Pleiadian gateway, because the Pleiades is a gateway of sorts. And that is what you might call she was what you might call a walk-in, though she walked in, but she didn't take over. She kind of slid in like a bit like a second skin, but it was a huge cellular download as she came in, and my life changed forever from that moment. And I had an 8-month baby, and I had 2 more babies to get in, and then after that third baby was in, things really started happening. I started she actually appeared to me physically twice, in a 3-dimensional holographic form, and that was quite profound because, again, more downloads. And remember, I didn't really know anything about this cosmic thing. I knew I came from a spiritual background with my parents, but the whole cosmic thing was it was totally unknown to me. And so it was really, everything was just on need to know and trust in the moment. And basically she came in, she started speaking through me this light language. I had then set up a healing practice. We drew glyphs and codes all over the walls, and I thought I was going a bit bonkers. But my middle son used to come in. He was about 5 or 6, and he'd go, "No, Mummy, that should be there. No, Mummy, that's the wrong color. No, Mummy, you need to do that over there." And I'm like, who are these children? Like, how do they know all this stuff? But then through allowing the process of allowing this being and trusting this being, this whole body of work came through, and she just wrote through me, channeled through me. I spent years just drawing, like in a meditation, sitting with the ocean, singing and downloading for years and years and years. And those are so she called that sound and light body technology, which I still didn't really know what it was all about. It was all a bit strange, but I was just trusting this process. I was so blissed out and relaxed and meditative when she was coming through me. And this one is an advanced code. So this is one of a series of 17 codes that came in as blueprints on an Easter weekend. So the first one, the feminine codes, came in the year before, and these are called the keys of the kingdom. They're the masculine codes, and this is one of them. But the original blueprints don't look like this. Then learned to use a graphics program, and I used to sit in front of this computer and literally watch her come in and use the program. If you ask me how I did this, I go, I have no idea. I don't know what buttons she pressed. I don't know how she does it. And so it started kind of becoming familiar with it, almost like I was coloring in my blueprints on the computer. And then she just kind of took it to another level after that. And then what we're looking at now are the blueprints, what I would call the amplified seed codes for the the blueprints for the new human genome, the new technology. This one's called the 13th strand. It's a DNA code for the 13th, anchoring the 13th code DNA. And I used to draw a lot of jellyfish. And if you want to know something, you just ask and it is given. So I was in a constant communication with her and say, why am I drawing jellyfish? And she'd say, well, jellyfish hold the ascension codes within their light bodies for the earth and humanity. They're the highest frequency beings on the planet. Apart from the dragonfly and the jellyfish, the dragonfly holds the light codes and the jellyfish holds the cosmic light codes. So a lot of jellyfish used to come in because as I was downloading the codes, you see, all I had to do was just download them through my body. And as I was downloading them, it's like they come through the instrument and they're activated through the atmosphere. And the atmosphere, which is like the water that we live in, takes the frequency of the codes and plays it through consciousness. So that was a bit challenging for me because as humans, we're like, what am I supposed to do with this? What am I supposed to do with it? And it's like, you're doing it. You're doing it. All you do is you sit and you play and you draw and you color and you be blissed and you sit in nature, and this is what we do. So I knew I was working with water, specifically with the liquid light spectrum within water. And we know that water is a conductor of energy and it also holds information, which is why I used to sit with the water, with the ocean, because the ocean is a living light library, and the whales in the ocean hold the Akashic libraries in their bodies, in their cosmic light bodies. And I also used to go out every year into Hervey Bay. I've done it for the last nearly 20 years, where I work with the whales and I download codes directly from the whales as well. So it's, it's something now that I can talk about, and I've developed a language for it. But in the beginning, I didn't even have words for what was going on. I was just in the work. I was just, if I didn't have 3 children that, when I would go into that zone where I was downloading a whole body of 18 codes and I had to get them in by a specific cosmic alignment, which again, I didn't know I was getting it in by a cosmic alignment. I didn't know it was a solstice or a full moon or Venus was aligned with Mars, or I had no idea. I was just focused, almost, you could say, almost like a manic energy, just I have to get this in. And my children would come up to me when I was sitting at the computer doing a lot of the intense colouring, and they'd go, Mummy, eat toast. Mummy, here's tea. Mummy, feed her, give her tea. This code, this is one of the original seed codes that I bought in. I bought 12. She called them the accelerators, and they were seeds. And in this year, those seeds have erupted into the cosmic flower garden. And this one is actually called, this was interesting because it's like it's the Ankh, it's the goddess, the revival of the goddess, and it's also about a different level of belief. It's about taking our beliefs to a whole different level, and also remembering. When you remember, your beliefs change. It's interesting because everything's cyclic. You can either go backwards and remember, or you can go forwards and remember. And the being that sits with me, which is me, she's a higher dimensional aspect of the being that I am, integrated. She actually comes from the future. Well, she has to come from the future because she's got codes that are activating our biology now, which means the codes have already, it's like the seed for a flower is technology. Everything's technology. Everything's sound and light technology. Everything is a seed that bursts into a flower. So the potential for the flower is in the seed. And the creator knows what that flower is going to look like, but the flower is going to take a journey through this 3-dimensional experience we call life. So the seed is known and the flower is known, but the experience of that is unique. And we're just like that. We're just like flowers. We're a seed in the womb. We grow, we germinate, we're birthed, and then we take this journey. And the potential for that seed is in every single one of us. Every single one of us. I think to be born at this time on the planet is truly to be, it's just such a gift, because the potential that we have right now at this time, although it all looks a bit chaotic out there, this is our seed growing into its fullest potential in the garden. And this is another one, what we're looking at now, this is another one of the kingdom codes. So there are 17 beautiful codes that come in. I seriously don't know how she did that, because I've tried to duplicate all this geometry and I have no idea how she did that. It's crazy. I can't even find the buttons to push on the computer. So those 17 codes called the Keys of the Kingdom align with the 17 feminine codes. Jeff, you might have a couple of the pregnant birthing mothers. I'm not quite sure, the voidal mothers. And they create a beautiful story about the feminine and the masculine. That's another, that's called the fall. So a lot of it is the language of the Christed being, the blessing, the fall. You know, it's that huge biblical story that we all know, interwoven with the feminine goddess birthing creative story. So in a nutshell, that's that part of the work. That's the sound and light technology, which continues to blossom, continues to grow, continues to evolve, continues to surprise me, really surprises me every step of the way. And it's a huge body of work. I've probably got a couple of thousand images, really. So because one code, because it goes through,
that's amazing, because we've been blessed, like Carol and I. Oh, go on.
No, I'm not speaking. You go.
Oh.
Andrena?
Yeah, because there's a little time delay. Yeah, I was going to say we were blessed, like Carol and I have had a few conversations since we connected, and we've been blessed to have some of your beautiful codes and drawings. I mean, they are absolutely phenomenal. Like you say, they've got to come from the future, because they're just so way out. So yeah, I've got them all around the boat at the moment. But they really are beautiful. They are something else. So I was thinking it might be good when we go to sacred sites and things to take a particular one with us or something. So maybe I'll talk about that later with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're just absolutely. Yeah, so bit of sound coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really fantastic. So what about the crystals? Do they play a big part in the sound and light technology?
Well, every single one of us is, nearly just over 80% water. So your whole body is a crystal. If there's water, there's crystals. And so the cosmic instrument, which is the body, is a crystalline instrument. Which is why we resonate so much with crystals, why we can talk to crystals, because the body itself as a cosmic instrument reads and recognizes frequency. It's a frequency machine, and it has the ability to speak the language of frequency. Actually, our innate language is the language of frequency. We feel it. We expand and contract with it. We hear it. We respond to it. Frequency is really the future. It's the medicine. It's cosmic medicine. It's the medicine that we will all be evolving into and remembering. And the beautiful part about frequency and energy medicine is that it's how we play. I mean, it's music. It's literally how we play. It's how we play our crystal bowls. It's how we play with our voices. It's how we play with the tuning forks. It's how we play with any kind of music as frequency, whether it's pure hertz frequency with different channels of hertz, or whether it's beautiful sound with voices and toning and tuning. It's how we play. And, you know, I often say, we only came to play and they made us all serious. They made us get all serious. And I just think it's a travesty the way we haven't been able to play, because it's the child within us that is connected to the source of perpetual power. And if we're disconnected from that source, we forget how to play. And so as the human body is the cosmic instrument that plays with frequency, plays with sound, whether that's crystalline, whether that's a human tone, whether it's a crystal bowl, whether it's a tuning fork, whether it's the sound of nature. You know, as your spine sits up against a tree and the tree is playing its frequency through your spine and tuning your body. You're lying on the earth and the whole earth is tuning your whole body. I mean, this is how we play. It's essentially effortless to heal the body. But our program has distorted a lot of that innate ability to use the body as an instrument of high intelligent cosmic wisdom. And we're going to be stepping into that big time. In the next 10 years, we're not even going to remember what's gone. Because what's gone is not playful, is not fun, is not enabling the innate joy that we are to just blossom. We are actually in our blossoming. So if we have been seeds going through this life, going through the journey of life, we are literally coming up for blossoming. And just before the blossom, we're in a contraction. We're in a tight contraction because all the energy is built up inside that blossom. And it's like, oh my God, and then bang. And what we're about to experience on this planet, hang on to your cosmic hats, people, because there will be, the grand awakening is a mass blossoming. It's a mass blossoming of consciousness. And so you go from, you know, does the flower remember the contraction and go, oh yes, I remember when I was so contracted? Or does it just live as the full blossom, you know? And then the nectar comes, and then these come. You know, it just gets better and better and more. It just gets better. Life just gets better and better. And we're at the time on the planet where we're actually going to consciously experience ourselves as blossomed flowers. I know it might say, that's the only language that I have to be able to relate what's happening right now. It's all good. It's all amazing.
And this is what we've all been waiting for.
This is the grand awakening. But what we're feeling is the pressure building up in the bud. We're feeling this huge pressure. And human beings. Go ahead.
Andrea? Yeah.
It's the
I was going to say regarding the flowers, like we always say, you can't force a flower to bloom and grow, and you know that flower only bursts forth when it's ready, when it has all the right conditions, which is us, isn't it? I mean, we got nature, and I say to people, sit in nature, and I'm reading a beautiful book called Listening to the Trees Talk. And it's like if you sit against a tree and connect with the tree and even talk to the trees, for those that like talking to trees. I do, I'm a forest, so but nature is, you know, the greatest gift. Or stand in the river and just have a paddle, or you know, like, and if you're near the ocean, get in the ocean and have a swim. Not quite so inviting over here, but I did go to the swimming pool yesterday, which was not quite the same, but it was nice to have a swim. So, but yeah, nature is our greatest teacher. I mean, you know, we pick fresh nettles in the morning. We make our nettle tea, and we haven't been that adventurous yet because through different circumstances and knowing what we're doing, we've gathered some herbal books. So this is where you've gone into tea making or herbal harmonics. Would you like to share a bit how that came into being?
Yeah, so I was trying to think today how long it's been, and it was about 12, 13 years ago.
Hello?
A friend of mine was opening a herb shop, and she didn't know anything about herbs. She's also a healer, an amazing healer and intuitive. And she said, "Do you want to come and play?" And I went, "Yes, I'm coming to play." And so we spent about 2 weeks preparing the shop and getting it ready, because it was an old shell of a place and we had to paint it and get it ready. And on the day that we opened the shop, I walked in and there were about 200 herbs lining the walls of this shop. I walked in and this wave of energy hit me and I just burst into tears. I was just overwhelmed with this energy. And I thought, what on earth is this? This is powerful. And it was the herbs. It was the voices of these herbs who were it was almost like they were so happy to see me that I'd come to play. And they started to teach me. I got access to what was called the voice of the herbal collective, which was one voice that spoke on behalf of every herb. And we started to run workshops. And again, in the moment, I don't know whether it was MaYanya or whether it was another aspect or it's just the one being that just I'm already connected into this voice innately. I would say it's coming through the being that was within me. She was just plugging me into a whole nother octave of information that was coming through nature. And essentially what the herbs taught me is that every herb, because again, it's all music. They say it's all music. Everything's music. It's all about the music. Every herb is a note. Every herb has a specific note, a frequency, a unique frequency, just like we do as human beings. The human body is the cosmic instrument that can read those notes. So, for example, if you want to make a herbal tea, a herbal blend for stress, generally what happens is herbs for stress are thrown into a pot. I'm going to take lavender and I'm going to take some ashwagandha and I'm going to take some lemon myrtle and I'm going to take some malungu, and I'm going to take all the herbs that I know because of the reading that I've done that are for stress. Now, if you do that and you don't read the notes, you don't have a harmonic playing through the blend. You actually have a cacophony, and it can be more detrimental for your body than healthy and beneficial. So what I was shown to do, and in the beginning I used to do it by getting the packets of herbs and laying them up and holding them like this, literally taking a breath and just feeling this expansion of energy, like an atom bomb, just bang going through my field. And I had a harmonic, because the expansion of those notes was going out into consciousness and registering as this powerful resonant sound, like a gong. Like if you could hear a silent gong and your body was the instrument, that's what it was like. If I layered the herbs in and there was no harmonic, I would take a breath and there was nothing. There was no gong. There was no sound. And then I realized, oh my God, I don't even need the herbs. I can just write the name of the herb on a piece of paper, and I can put the pieces of paper in my hand, and the information is in the word, because the word carries the vibration of the sound of that plant that has all the information in it. And so I could just do it with the names of the herbs. And so doing that, and again, this all comes from the planet. It's her language. They were called Herbal Harmonics. She was very specific about that. And a lot of that really was anchored after I got back from Glastonbury and spent a month in England and did a lot of work in Glastonbury and around that area. and connected very deeply with the green man, very deeply. And the green man was the symbol on the first range of teas that my business partner then and I made. And he was carrying that frequency into the world, the green man. And it was as if nature was saying, nature is not just Mother Nature. Nature is a balanced harmony between the masculine and the feminine. And you must remember that. All of nature is a balanced harmony between the masculine and the feminine. And there's been this Mother Nature. And it was like, yes, there's Mother Nature, but there's Father Nature. And he must be brought into the world, because the world can't heal if he's not brought in. He's so necessary. So for the first 5 or 6 years, as we were developing and composing and doing the harmonics, and we created 18 harmonic blends, I then got an opportunity by working at a place called the Golden Door in the Hunter Valley here in New South Wales, which is Australia's #1 health and wellness retreat. I went there as a sacred psychology practitioner in my own practice, and I took the teas with me. And I said, I really want to be able to serve these teas to my clients. And then the chef said to me, well, why aren't we serving your teas in the restaurant? And why haven't we got them in the spa? And why aren't they in the guests' rooms? So I went, well, all right. And so they've now been throughout that retreat, integrated right throughout for the last 6 years. And it's had a profound effect on health and well-being, and not just mental health and well-being, but spiritual, emotional, and energetic health and well-being for thousands of people. And, they just found their way. I always say, the teas take me. I don't take the teas. They take me. They guide me. There's a whole entity here that's guiding this whole thing, and I'm kind of along for the ride. And I'm just about to launch a global brand. We're rebranding. A woman that I met at the Golden Door, who had a session with me and been drinking the teas. After the session, she said, I don't know what you do. I have no idea what you do, but we've got to do something with you. And I said, well, it's not me, it's the teas. She said, well, we're going to do something with the teas then. What are we going to do? And so we developed this beautiful brand, and we're about to launch the beginning of the year. And they're going out to the world. They're going everywhere. 5 of the blends are going to be launched. I know, it's so exciting. And she's the director of an international ad agency. Like, I couldn't have even come up with that if I had a plan that my business partner would be an international ad agency director. And just today she said to me, MaYanya, do you think you could make an oil? I said, Lindsay, I've already made the oil. I'm about to make my 5th batch because I can't make them fast enough. They've gone before I've even made them. She went, oh, my goodness. She said, do you think we could have 5 oils because we've got 5 teas? And I just went, yeah, we can do that. It's very accelerated at the moment. Anybody who's really aligned with their life purpose as an energetic, within the energetic spectrum, and is living that passionately, it's like we've put our little boats into the river, and the river's just like taking those boats. So I'm very excited about that we'll have these amazing herbal harmonic teas that are transformative, absolutely extraordinary. And then we'll have these what I call harmonic elixirs, which are the oil blends. And the one I've just made, people were asking me, the first one, they were saying to me, when are you going to do like a harmonic for, what's happening with the virus? And I said, well, I just kind of have to wait. I kind of have to wait until I'm told to do what I do. And I've had many masters that have come and worked with me that I've spent a long time with, especially in the Buddhist and Zen and Tantra traditions, because that's a huge part of understanding mind. And when I have a practice, as I said, in this profound body of work, which is a merging of high-level intuitive ability, this being is within me that just basically comes in and does all the defragging. She defrags programs, basically. You sit with me, you just get defragged. She just takes all the stuff out, dissolves all the programs. And for a long, long time, she was just working through trauma. And I truly believe that what we're doing right now on the planet as a collective is we're dissolving collective genetic trauma. And what we're seeing play out on the planet right now is mass consciousness trauma. And this is what is being healed. And once you've healed collective consciousness trauma, I mean, can you imagine the world we live in? And that has the ability to be healed like this. A blossomed flower is not in trauma. So I think, like you, Andrena, with your tools, with your sound, with your ability to play, with the playfulness that you bring by setting up opportunities for people to relax and receptive. I also run meditations and teach people how to relax, and it just bringing very, very simple, basic understanding. You know, you've got to bring a very simple, basic understanding to what is essentially highly esoteric cosmic work. And so it's as simple as, you know, if you want to heal your body, you have to be receptive to healing energy. And you can't be receptive to healing energy if you're tense and stressed. So you have to learn how to relax in order to be receptive. And people go, oh, well, that makes sense. Show me how to relax then. And so it's very, very simple. It's so simple. It's overthought. It's overworked. I mean, it is highly cosmic science, but when you break it down, it's very simple. It's 1 and 1 is 2, you know. 1 and 1 is also 3. But do you know what I mean? So it's, what is a simple equation always has a little bit of a kink in it. But essentially, I just want to bring my gift. And it's the gift that pours through me. And it gives me so much joy, whether I'm unfolding a new code on the computer, whether I'm composing a new elixir, whether I'm sitting with someone and watching the defragging happening. It's just a beautiful process to be involved with. I think we've lost Andrena.
Yeah, no,
are you there?
It's okay. Hey, I was listening to your conversation there. So the first thing I want to pick up is the green man.
Yes.
So many years ago, I used to go to England every year for 12 years, and one of the times I was there, my mate said, let's go to Glastonbury. I said, oh yeah, what's on at Glastonbury? He said, oh, it's the Goddess Festival. So we got there, and of course, the Goddess Festival consisted of about 300 females from all around the world, and they had these long flowing dresses down to their ankles. And they did a parade up High Street. And at the head of the parade was a gentleman who was all dressed up with his antlers, and he's all green and all that stuff. And there was the females representing following the green man, bringing the male energy into the Mother Nature, Father Nature. It's quite an opening statement to see and be presented to the world, where the females then honoured the male. So that was the first time I've actually seen that reverence, you know.
I think it's very, very important for the masculine. I think it's very important for the masculine to see that he's honoured by the feminine, just as it is important for the feminine to see that she's honoured by the masculine. You know, it's not about power over or being under. It's about this balanced equilibrium, this flow of, I mean, we're composed of both masculine and feminine. And I think we're starting to see a kind of an androgynous energy transforming the human prototype, if you like, the human body. We're seeing this androgyny come in through our children, where there's so many words for it now. There's binary and non-binary and I don't know what all the terms are, because the genders are kind of merging in such an extraordinary way. But in traditional, in the South, well, certainly in the North American Indian tradition, when the first white men went there, they saw that within those villages there were 5 types of we could say sexuality. 5 types. So there was man, there's woman, there's man, woman, and what's called two-spirit. So the man and woman, we know, they're just gender-specific, man and woman. The woman man is the poet. The woman man is the poet, the musician, the one that we might call the homosexual, the more effeminate man. Okay, he's effeminate. The woman, the man woman, she's the warrior. She's out the front as the warrior. We might call them the butch kind of lesbians, the heavy set warriors, the fearless warriors. And then the two-spirit has both the equal balanced spirit of the feminine and the masculine. They were often the medicine woman or the medicine man or the cosmic being that has the connection to the higher realms. So in the traditional society, there are 5 types of gender. And when the white man went there, and it was basically the churches, yes, went, no, we're not having that. You're either a man or you're a woman. So the natural flow of the genders was pretty well put into 2 camps, and anything out of those 2 camps was demonized or made wrong. But essentially, within our nature, the expression of the human being, there are, according to the indigenous tribes, 5 different types of gender. Now, doesn't that just for a moment free us up a bit? That I don't have to be this and I don't have to be that there's actually room for everyone to exist within that structure, and everyone's necessary within the village. We need the poets and the musicians and the gentle men who are the healers, for example, and we need those strong, courageous, intuitive women who are the warriors, and then we need the women who birth, and we need the men who hunt, and we need the medicine man and the cosmic shaman. So I found that very interesting, actually, and I think that what we're seeing on the planet now is a kind of a return to this natural balance and natural order of, and an understanding, a deeper understanding that everybody has their place in their gender in a tribal village, and it's accepted and it's revered and it's necessary. We can be who we are.
Hey, I'm hearing you. So I just want to step along to the next line of thought. Back in 2005, the French put out a movie and the European Union banned it. It was so confrontational as far as the European Bilderbergers structure had in mind. And so it was called The Green Beautiful. The Green Beautiful.
Oh my God, one of my favorite movies ever. One of my favorite movies. I love that movie. Yes. I love it.
It's so hard and very difficult to actually find the English version of it, or the English subtitles. You find it's been taken off. You find it's in Russian, or you find it's in another language. But the actual beauty of it had a thread to it, which obviously the European Union and the world of monopoly in terms of consumerism didn't like. And that was quite a pivotal point where people walked away from the whole capitalist system of commercialization and using the resources of man, and then coming back to the playtime in it. So it's actually at the beginning, which is the most amazing part of the movie, is the fact that you see all these people traipsing over the green hills. It's almost like, if you've been to Glastonbury, as you're talking about, it's like people coming from all the different directions to come to Glastonbury to have a picnic. Yes. And then you see them all laid out and all sharing their food and that. And then this elderly lady gets up and says, "Look, we've been approached. Does anybody want to go to Naxos?" And then, of course, As people stand up, they want to do an exchange. You go to Naxos, and who wants to go to Christos? Yeah, we want to go to Christos. Who wants to go to Earth? And everybody goes.
Nobody wants to go.
Yeah, and you're thinking, what's this movie all about? You're like, what's going on here? So that's the thread of the story, of course. And then we see that this one particular lady decides that she's going to go because an ancestor had gone to Earth, and so she actually then turns up in France, and it's the whole story just gets quite surreal, isn't it? It's sublime.
It's absolutely extraordinary. And I remember when they were asked about how their planet had evolved, because they've basically evolved back into nature. Everything's balanced, They sleep outside. All of the food is just provided. Their exercise, they're all doing gymnastics. Like, they're all amazing gymnasts because that's how they stay fit. And there's another scene that is so extraordinary. At sunrise, they all sit, and this comes right at the end when two of the girls from Earth go back to the planet, and they're all sitting on the hill at sunrise, and they're all going to see a show. And they're actually just sitting in silence or sunset, watching the sunset. And the two Earth girls are going, what are you looking at? And they're like, shh, shh, you'll get it. You'll get it. It's like you actually have to be still and silent and present. And it's like they're all hearing a silent symphony. They're all seeing this exquisite show. But you've kind of got to be able to be fully present with nature to be able to be in that silent symphony and be in that magical moment. That movie, I don't know who made it, but I think they came from the future. I really do, because it's exquisite. And you're right, that you can't find it with the English. I think they took it down. It's so powerful.
Oh, it is. Apart from going like this and tuning in across the cosmic space to be able to do that, it's quite surreal. But the fact that when the two her two sons turn up to Earth because I've missed the transmission and seen these two beautiful Earth humans, and they turn up and they said, these people are really advanced. These people are really advanced. Why doesn't anybody want to come to Earth? And of course, we've been invited to breakfast. And of course, they've ended up not in France or Europe. They've actually ended up in Australia, in Central Australia, and they've been talking to the Aborigines who've got this connection with the Earth. It was a really strong, positive statement, wasn't it? So
yes, it was.
That was really, really good. There was another telling point in that movie too, that was when they showed you everybody tossing out into the streets, all their TVs, electronics, and getting back to nature.
And that's what I was going to say before I got distracted. That they said, how did your planet become so advanced? And she said, all they did was they just boycotted everything. They stopped buying. They stopped buying. They stopped buying the machines. They stopped buying the televisions. They just stopped buying. And that was the collapse of the whole system. The collapse of consumerism happens when you stop being a consumer. You stop buying. And again, I thought that was a very powerful statement. Probably why it's been taken down, because it really is a vision of a profound future. And there's also a part when she's walking down the street and she's so telepathic when she arrives there, and she can feel the disease in people's bodies. Everybody's gut is sick. And she can't breathe, because she said there's still burning fossil fuels here, and the petrol is getting into her lungs. And profound, whoever wrote, I don't know who made the movie, but I'm sure he's from the future, or she, whoever they are.
Yeah.
Will have a vision like that, And I'm often reminded that
it was one of the best movies that
it was. I'm often reminded that we're here to live a very simple life with a very profound awareness, that we can live a very simple, beautiful life. We don't need a lot. We're given everything. That, you know, the food gets pushed up out of the ground, and the rain and the water falls down from the sky. I mean, food is provided and water is provided. So we don't need a lot, but we need to develop an innate awareness of ourselves first, our own minds, our own programs, our own limitations, our own feelings, our own traumas. We need to be aware of ourselves. And in that, we become aware of others, truly aware of others. It's a sensitivity, I think, that we don't have because of this distraction, which I've started to call the glamour. I think we've all been glamorized. We've all had this spell cast over us where this glamour has taken over. The glamorous lifestyle, the glamorous car, the glamorous girlfriend, the glamorous backside, the glamorous house, the glamorous, when I have that, I will be. If I could just have that, I will be. So it constantly takes us into this illusion of happiness through material things. And we then miss ourselves because it's taking us out rather than bringing us back in. And glamour, I think it's an old English word for a spell. So it's as though we've been under a spell. And that spell has stopped us connecting to this incredible sensitivity that lies within us. And the sensitivity is the mechanism within the cosmic instrument that connects us to everything.
Well, we had a very profound movie called Avatar that just took the world by, well, did it say take it by storm? No, it took it by consciously connected with people on the planet, become the biggest revenue movie of all time. Now, in that particular movie, when the guy's running across in his blue body, across the tree, and then the woman's about to shoot him, and all of a sudden those little things come around and start dancing all around him and laying on his body. I think you might have a photo. Was it you? He's got the photo with the butterflies all over him. Might have been someone else that come through today. Anyway, my friends rang me up on Saturday and said, "Can you come up tonight?" I said, "Oh, why?" "No, because we've got fireflies." I said, "Fireflies?" "Yeah, they just come up at dusk. Only goes for a couple of weeks of the year." So apparently the glowworms, when they mature, they become these fireflies. And so went up Sunday, and there was 11 of us all came up. And it was amazing how at dusk, all of a sudden these fireflies come through the atmosphere, and you can feel them, you can see them coming through, and they just come all around you, and they like do the dance just like they did on Avatar. It was a really surreal experience to feel, you know. And obviously, you've got our phones, our cameras out of your phone, and you're trying to take a photo so to show people, get this experience. But sometimes you lose the aspect of you're there in the first place to enjoy the moment. But then you might tell people, hey, we had this experience. But once you got some photographic evidence, you're showing all the doubting Thomases, get out and enjoy life. Get out and see what's going on around you. Get in touch with nature, you know. Just giving you something that happened to me just this last weekend, which was a profound experience for me. I've never come across that before.
Yeah, I think it's those rare experiences that enable us to be in wonder. And, you know, wonder is something that we live in as children. We've just arrived and everything is wonderful. We live in wonder. We live in wonder of things we've never seen before. Everything's new. Everything's wonderful. The color of a tree, the color of a bird, the sound of a bird, the sound of a new song. It's and we have to come back into the natural wonder. And I love. There's a quote in the book called A Course in Miracles, which is a beautiful sacred spiritual text, and the quote is, there's no degree of difficulty in the size of miracles. That there's no such thing as a big miracle or a small miracle. It's all miraculous. The miracle of how a child can be germinated in a woman's womb and grow and be born. I mean, that's miraculous. The colors, the spectrum of the colors of green, that's miraculous. Everything is miraculous. And I think, you know, those little moments, Jeff, when you're in a forest with fireflies, you're in the miracle, you're in the wonder of the miraculous, you've entered the realm of the miraculous, and you've connected again to the child of wonder within you. And I think we're all connecting to the child of wonder, because the child of wonder has the connection to the perpetual source of power. You know, we have to reconnect to our power, to our innate power. And this world of distraction and this spell called the glamour has completely taken us out into this illusionary, I mean, it's the world and it's there, but we kind of have to break the spell. We have to break the glamour spell. And I actually think that's what's happening on the planet right now. I think there are many spells being broken. There is an energy called the energy of the dark magician. And the dark magician casts these magic spells. But they're actually, I don't believe they're true spells. I think he's an illusionist. Magicians, as we know, create illusions, and we believe the illusions, and they're very, very good at making it look like real magic. But it's not real magic. We've got the magic, but we're going to have to connect to the source within us that enables us to be the magician. And there is a word called, Andrena, we were talking about this last night, there is a word called imagination. And if you look at that word, it's I or one magic nation. When we all turn on the I imagination, we all become the innate magicians that manifest, co-create, instantaneously heal, create gardens where the vegetables are so big one family can't eat one tomato. You know, we're re-entering the realm of the miraculous. But we have to break the spells and access the real magic within us. And that means we have to be connected to our own sensitivity, our own vulnerability. And those are our greatest tools. They really are.
I've had the pleasure of going up to Findhorn on 3 occasions there.
Yeah.
So the magic of Findhorn is an example that just sentient beings such as humans can actually interface with the elements, and I'm talking about nature here and the different realms that are available for us to become in tune with. I mean, it's a fantastic example of what can happen when you start working with the natural elements. And you talked about the foods getting really large and the tomatoes. That's exactly what happened at Findhorn.
Exactly. And if it can happen at Findhorn, it can happen anywhere. You know, the abundance that the earth wants to put out when she's allowed to do it naturally is so huge. The whole world is fed. But what we've seen is this kind of interface of an interface that's created limitation through chemicals, which are not organic, that then suppress the ability for the planet to be able to produce massive amounts of food for her children. And I think we're heading back there again. We're just cycling back to reconnecting to the earth so she can put out this abundance that she hasn't been able to put out.
Well, that and the
definitely.
fact that Avatar as a James Cameron movie just touched so many people on the planet to reconnect with their roots, isn't it? Eh?
Yeah, definitely. And it shows so many things. It showed that right next to us is another dimension, that is a whole nother world that relates to the earth in a completely different way. You know, it showed that we have spiritual counterparts in that world that are connected with the elementals, that also help them, that are an integrated part of their world. And which is another thing that we're coming back to. We're coming back into a deep connection with the elemental kingdom. And we need them, actually, and they need us as well. I mean, I can't tell you how many conversations I'm having with people about unicorns. I'm like, what's going on with the unicorns, people? Surely so many people are talking about unicorns. What, are we going to start seeing unicorns soon? And dragons, all these mythological creatures that, especially people that I'm connected to who are working within the elemental realms, are with their third eye or with their vision, they're seeing these creatures right in front of them. So the veils are thinning and magic is happening, real magic is happening. And this is the great shift that's on the planet at the moment. You know, this stuff of fairy tales is, it has to come from somewhere. You can't just make something up. If it's in your imagination, it exists. So we're bridging the imagination and bringing a lot of it here. Everything that's ever created was first imagined. So
I know you used the word imagination. Some time ago, I actually felt the word should have been imagineering. So imagineering is the fact, first of all, you have to imagine. That's the most powerful thing that humanity's got, is the power of imagination. Imagine, and then the engineering of it is actually to be the engineer. You've got to be the person who drafts it, the archetypes, bringing it together, hold it, then manifest it. You know, so imagineering. Andrena's just moved off from where she was, so she's getting closer to the canal there. She's using a new product there that's put out by a company over there called 3. So obviously 3 is a phone company over there, so obviously their tower's not all that close. So anyway, so she'll come back on. So we're talking about elixirs. We're talking about the dragons. I just want to say the dragons. I mean, Wales has the dragon. That's part of their flag. Of course, we've got St. George and the dragon. It's part of the mythology of England. And then we've got, throughout Asia, we've got the dragon and the tiger have to be in harmony for the Feng Shui priests to work with their understanding of those principles. I mean, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank over there on Hong Kong Island were really under construction, and then someone had the bright idea to bring the Feng Shui priest in. And he said, mate, you got this whole entrance the wrong way. It's the money's flowing in and the money's flowing straight out. So they had to redesign it. So the actual entrance is, they created a whole big, I suppose it's mezzanine floor, or atrium. So you actually walk under the building, you know. So it's about 2 stories high before you actually come in from the side on the north or the south to actually go up and then come into the actual, entrance to the actual bank. So that allowed them to maintain and hold the money. So,
very important for a bank.
yeah. So there wasn't in harmony. It was a really quite a profound bloody experience to learn about that too, because on a Sunday, every Filipino house cleaner is sitting underneath that building there having their Sunday afternoon or Sunday out with all the other housemates from the Philippines there. It's quite a profound. It sounds like it's 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock at dusk. I don't know if you get it down where you are, but the birds come out there and they get into those trees and they probably have a bit of a chinwag about where they went that day to get their food supplies. But hello, you're back. Good to see you.
You're in the boat.
We're in the boat now. So I'm not sure if it was outside interference because the sound was coming and going. But we've got the high-speed trains running along, so I'm not quite sure. and then the battery started to go. So I've had hours of full charge, but it's obviously taken a lot more battery. So this is still a learning curve for me. This is still a few teething problems. So, you know, each week I'm learning more and more of what to do, what not to do, and best. So I'm going to give you a little look now. There's a little boat going past on the canal, live. Yeah, they're just sailing. So just see the back at the minute. So so I'm back. So it's been awesome listening to you and talking to you. You've got so much wisdom and knowledge, and you know, phenomenal. Like, you know, because I've gained lots from just connecting with you, and what I think I found really interesting was you talking about the notes of each plant. So I would like to know more about that, because we're like really connected with nature here in the plants, and we talk to the trees, and you know, we do all these things. So is there a name of a book or anything that's got those frequency codes, hertz, or anything that I could look at, or is this come from your wonderful being?
I think I might have to write it for you, Andrena. I don't think there's a book. I think this. Look, there is. If you look at the Ayurvedic and the Chinese medicine, the Chinese call it.
Well, there's one in the making.
The Chinese call it. She's popped out again. Tonic herbalism. So their whole thing is that if you layer in more than one herb, you end up with a much more potent elixir or medicine. So they have this tonic herbalism where they layer in certain different plants to create their tonics. And I suppose Herbal Harmonics is the same kind of concept, except that Herbal Harmonics is specifically invested in teaching the individual how to use their body through their own awareness to feel the frequencies. So tonic herbalism is passed, for the Chinese, is passed down through these great bodies of work, just like Ayurvedic medicine. It's literally passed down from family to family in an unbroken lineage of understanding how to apply the different medicines that they have to create the different applications. And Chinese medicine is the same. So these are the herbs and this is how we work with them. But Herbal Harmonics is more specifically about a person realizing that they have an innate ability to tune in and to feel the frequency. So you use the body as the instrument that is feeling the frequency. We have to start learning how to use our bodies as a frequency machine. Its first language is energy. Its first language is an energetic language, and that language is frequency. And so I think, I don't know, maybe I need to write a book, but I've already got like half a dozen books on the go. I don't know whether I'm ever going to finish one of them. I'm a bit like sister, you know, I've got too many projects on the go.
Well, actually,
but I don't know. I mean, you could look at, yes. Go ahead.
Just want to interrupt there. I think we met a guy in Glastonbury called John Anthony, and then some years later we met a guy called Swallow, and what actually transpired is that the two interesting points here is that they both came from Demaha, that place up at Turin up in Italy.
Yes, in Italy. Yes.
Yeah. So that community there uses plant orchestras, where they've learnt about the frequency of plants, and then they go and put their little tuning system they've got onto the actual plant there, and it's got a tone that comes out. And then it's amazing how one plant you can actually then talk to another plant before you know it. They've got this bloody cacophony or a symphony of bloody plants playing. It is quite phenomenal, isn't it?
And they sound like choirs. Like the spectrum of the sound is like a celestial choir coming from one plant. So I think in the green beautiful, what they sit down to at the end of the day at sunset, when the world is quieting, they have the ability to hear the celestial orchestra of nature. I mean, who would need Netflix? Seriously. If you had the ability to sit down as a collective with your tribe for the show that nature is putting on today, and that's a sound and light show. That's the light coming through the full spectrum of the sky and the sun as the stars come up and the moons and the planet, and it's the sound of nature in this symphony that we can hear. I mean, it couldn't possibly get any better than that. So, but we have to be able to tune in to be able to hear it. You have to be able to tune in to be able to understand how to use the technology in the body to be able to tune into higher frequencies. So just think, it's all going on. This silent symphony is going on all the time around us. But we haven't yet switched on the inner technology that allows us to have the experience of that. But the technology, believe me, technology is switching on. It's switching on.
I love it. Love it. I always share.
I was just going to say, I brought up different movies, but there's one particular movie called City of Angels with Nicolas Cage, where they're all spiritual helpers, and they all go down to the beach there to watch sunrise. So it's another situation of seeing the sunset. These guys go down and see the sunrise. And I've had that experience as well, just during the sunrise, and you can see how the magnetic field on the Earth seems to start the wave formations, where it's been a flat sea and all of a sudden there's a pulse, and next second there's a surge, and next second the waves start coming through. And in the meantime, all the birds are all there in the power lines or in the trees just waiting for the sunrise to come, and they all start singing.
I know, it's profound. It's profound. I often catch the sunrise. There's a stillness at sunrise. It's almost like the world is waiting to breathe, It's just beautiful.
Andrena, carry on.
Andrena, were you going to say something?
Right. Yeah. Years ago, I think, probably in the early 70s, there was a guy called Cleve Baxter. He wrote about plants and communicating with plants, and plants as a lie detector. So that's taken it to a completely different level. But the other thing I was going to share was...
Sorry.
That's all right. The other thing I was going to say is, like I always say to people, you are an instrument, and it's all about tuning up your own vibration, your own energy, and like working with the voice, sounding, getting the sounds out, but also toning into the body, breaking through the frequencies and the energy that's there is really powerful.
Yeah, and remember also the human body, which is a cosmic instrument, has built-in technology. So it has built-in energy centers. The Chinese call them upper, middle, and lower dantian, which are these huge vortexes of energy that need to be charged and tuned and then aligned through the central channel to be able to truly start to tune the instrument. So again, if you really want to tune your instrument, you have to be able to take that journey inward and start to work with your own technology. Certainly, we also have this incredibly beautiful way of participating with others who have gifts that can tune us. But we have to start taking full responsibility for our own instrument. That's through what you eat, how you exercise, who you spend time with. Remember, it's all vibration. You eat high vibrational foods if you want a really good high vibration instrument. You spend time with high vibrational people who are really positive and creative and happy and joyous, and then your field is infused with high vibrational energy. And you have high vibrational thoughts. So you have to be aware of your thought forms, and you have to know how to dissolve lower thought forms as well. So it's learning how to work with this technology in a way that you become empowered. You're switching the power on. You're charging the power up. You're learning how to tune your instrument, not just through external ways, but actually taking the light that is your awareness. It's your light. It's full of information. You're able to direct it. You're able to focus it. You're able to fine-tune the lens so that you can see into your body. I mean, imagine if you could actually, I remember when I started drawing jellyfish, and this being would say to me, imagine if you could take your skin off. The light show is like the body of a jellyfish. It's a cosmic light show. It's all electrical. It's all colored light flinging around in there. And when you have the ability to start going in, turning the light of your awareness in and moving into the body and moving into different circuits of the body through the meridians, through the blood. I mean, when you can go into the blood, it's extraordinary. Then you start having this whole, you've got this is an entertainment center. And when your own body becomes your electric light entertainment center, and you can access it and you can tune it and you can direct energy into it and out from it, this is when we really start understanding this sound and light body technology that we're born with, but we've never been taught how to use it. They're not teaching us how to use your electric light technology, your sound and light body technology. And I actually think that's kind of a plan. There's been a plan to take us away from the innate ability that we have and to distract us, to create the glamour, as I call it. And as those spells break, and as we start to get very, very practical, simple ways to be able to tune in, tap on, tune up, then we actually start to embrace and encounter the cosmic light body. Like, why wouldn't you want to? It's all here. My whole body right now, I can feel my whole light body get so excited when I talk like this. It's just like, it's just all resonating. It's just all resonating. There's so much excitement. So that's kind of
passion, don't you?
Yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, to help to turn all of that on and to do it in the most effortless, joyous, playful way with, you know, whether you're drinking a cup of tea and you're turning that into a reflective meditation, whether you're putting a couple of drops on your palms and you're tapping your thymus and activating your cosmic shield, or whether you're lying under a tree surrounded by 10 people who are all singing into your body and tuning your vibrational field. I mean, if it's not play, you're doing it wrong. That's what I say. If you're serious, you're doing it wrong, because your ego just walked to the room and you want that guy out. So yeah, you know, I can talk a hole in a paper bag, so you are going to have to stop me when you're ready.
Yeah, we always say about acting, we act our shoe size, which is 5. So, and not our ages. So it's about important, you know, thinking differently. Because I always say I deleted the aging program. I'm not going down that doesn't serve me.
I love that.
Might be a delay a minute. Yeah, but no, it's been really amazing sharing this wonderful wisdom, your light codes, and I know you can't send the oils overseas, but what about the teas? Can you send those?
I certainly can, and I do. I send the teas all over the world. I have a website. It's just www.mayanya.com, and the full range of teas is there. I don't, at this stage, have the oils and the sprays, just because they go so fast that there'd be no point even putting them on the website. But if you're interested, if you're in Australia, you can email me. That's the email down the bottom there, and I'm about to make another batch of oils. There'll be about 50 of them. I make 50 at a time. I do small batches. These oils, once again, I'm just amazed at how it happens. Each oil, I am sure every bottle is already assigned. I'm sure that every bottle has already gone out to the person that is waiting for it. Each batch is the same ingredients, but there's a subtle shift in the levels of those ingredients. And they're also charged with particular frequencies, 369 hertz or 528 hertz. And I also do, Jeff, you'll like this, I do charge them with crystals, with crystalline energy. So the last batch was charged with Shungite, and that was interesting because I'd ordered the Shungite from Russia. I don't really do a lot of crystal stuff, but Shungite blocks EMF frequencies. And because I'm very sensitive to frequency, I was aware, or I was told I needed to get the Shungite to stick in front of my modem to stop the EMFs. On the day that I finished making the last batch of oils and put them on the tray to charge them with the frequency, the Shungite crystals arrived from Russia. And I almost watched the crystals fly onto that tray. And I went, oh, you've arrived for the elixir. So the elixir was charged with that frequency. And that's a 2 billion year old meteorite that is filled with information, cosmic information. So that was the last batch that went out. And once again, I put a post up and it's just like, bang. I'm like, how does this even happen? Like, how? But you know, when you're in the flow, you're in the flow. And it's just a wonderful thing to be participating with. There's an energy just picks everything up and just moves it to where it's supposed to go. So if it resonates with you, if you actually feel a resonance, if you feel excited, if there's a yes, send me an email and reserve a bottle of the elixir, because they go very, very quickly. I've still got some bottles of the spray. The elixirs are $35. I've made them very, very affordable. You know, I want everybody to have them because they're working with them as an antivirus protection. They come with a beautiful little card with a code. I'll show you the code. So about 15 years ago, I drew the antivirus code. That's what it looks like. Yeah. And then on the back of that,
sorry, it looked like when you cut a orange or something, or cut a lemon or grapefruit.
Yes.
Patterns.
And someone said it looked like the underside of a toadstool, you know. Yep. And then it comes with on the back of that is what's actually in the oil, and then there is an affirmation and a practice to embrace the sovereign integral being that is emerging. So it's more than just the oil. It's a whole resonant field that is going to open up, and it provides protection, but it also has the ability for your field to dissolve low frequency energies in other people. It's profound. It's amazing. And that's the technology that we're getting access to.
Well, well, that's brilliant. I think we'll have to have you back another time for more information when you've got more things out. You've got so much wisdom to share with us, and it's a shame that we can't get the oils over here, but we'll settle for a spray and a cup of tea.
Okay, I can do that for you.
But it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrena. Thank you, Jen.
And sharing your wisdom.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll call that quits, but don't go away. We'll just sign off and then we'll stay in the room.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Blessings, everyone.
Bye.
Yep. Love yous all.